Welcome to story time. As you can see, I'm trying to get my floaties ready. I'm trying to go swim. Going swimming. Well, at least that's what I kind of want to do. Because today we're talking about animals that swim with our big word of the month, migration. We're talking about animals that swim for migration. Would you like to read some stories about it? All right, come with me. Hello and welcome once again to Story Time. I, of course, am Miss Hannah, and today we are talking about migration, specifically animals that swim. Because you can swim when you migrate. Now, let's put on our thinking caps. Can you do it? Can you think of a bird that doesn't fly but migrates? Can you think of it? If you said penguin, you're right. I've got a book about a penguin. Penguins migrate. Did you know that? Isn't that cool? I've got a book about a penguin. This is called Penguin Pete, and this is by Marcus Pfister, and it's about a funny little penguin. Should we read it? Let's do it. Once upon a time, there was a colony of young penguins living happily together in the Antarctic. All penguins live in the Antarctic area. None of them live in the Arctic. They all live down below in the Arctic. They all down and south. The youngest penguin was called Pete. He was so small that the other penguins called him Pint-Sized Pete. Don't worry, said Pete's mother. All penguins are pint-sized when they're young. One day you'll grow bigger, and then you'll be able to swim in the sea with the rest of us. Pete thought that the grown-up penguins looked so beautiful swimming in the sea. He wanted to grow up fast so he could join them. But when the penguins came back in the evening and waddled clumsily to their nests, Pete couldn't help but laughing. They all looked so funny. Grown-up penguins couldn't move about on snow and ice any better than pint-sized Pete. Fingers are sticky today. I'll show them a penguin can move more gracefully on land, Pete said to himself, and he began to practicing flipper skating every day. It was great fun. He slid all over the ice and usually ended up on the ground with a thump. Now and then, some of the other penguins who were Pete's friends stayed home with him. They had a wonderful time playing hide-and-seek and making snow penguins and having snowball fights. Look at how he's sneaking up on us. The time flew by. One day, a flock of birds landed on a patch of ice where the penguins lived, cawing and screeching and flapping their wings. Pete marched proudly through the rows of birds. How tiny they were! He felt very big and grown up. Hello, he said to one of the birds. What kind of fluffy bird are you? He said, I'm a penguin, he said. My name is Pete. Pleased to meet you, Pete, said the little bird. My name's Steve. See Steve up there? Let's have a flying race. Don't be silly, said Pete. I can't fly. It's time you learned, said Steve. All you have to do is flap your wings. Just watch me. It's quite easy. Pete tried and tried and tried to flap. Do you think he's going to be able to flap his wings? Can you flap your wings? Are you a penguin? Flap, 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 flap. But he couldn't. He could only jump into the air. Pete and Steve were soon great friends, even if they couldn't go flying together. Pete wanted nothing better than to fly with his friends, and although he tried taking off over and over, his flight always ended with him crash landing. The next day, when the flock of birds moved on, there was nothing Steve could do. As the two friends said goodbye, big penguin tears trickled down Pete's cheeks. See how sad he is? See the big tears? Never mind, Pete, Steve called back as he flew away. I'm sure we'll be landing on this patch of ice again next year." Pete was very sad, but his mother knew how to cheer him up. The next morning he was allowed to go swimming in the sea for the first time. He was very excited, though the thought of diving into the water head first was rather scary. Pete found 2 ledges of ice at the water's edge. He climbed cautiously down the ledge and slid backwards into the sea. "I'll do a proper dive tomorrow," Pete thought. "Look, he's climbing backwards. He's so silly." Pete's first few strokes were rather clumsy, but soon he was gliding through the cold water like an eel. He could even do a backstroke. He came in last in most of the swimming races, and he lost when the penguins played games, but Pete was a good loser. Pages are sticky again, aren't they? Make sure I don't miss a page. Here we go. He never tired of looking at all the fish and the seaweed. There was something new around every corner of every rock. What a wonderful, mysterious place the sea was. Look at all the different types of fish. The next morning, the moon had risen by the time Pete waddled happily back to his mother. He felt far too tired to tell her all about his adventures, but that could wait till tomorrow. He was asleep at once and dreamed of Steve, the sea, and the dive he was going to do the next day. Pete's fast asleep with his mom. The end. Did you like reading about Penguin Pete? He's such a cutie. I've got a song and a rhyme about a penguin. Would you like to come do it with me? Let's go. I've got a song about penguins. Would you like to sing it with me? Let's do it. It goes, "I'm a little penguin in the snow. I slide on my tummy to and fro. I eat all the fish in the deep blue sea. I'm black and white, just look at me." Would you like to do it again? Ready? "I'm a little penguin in the snow. I slide on my belly to and fro. I eat all the fish in the deep blue sea. I'm black and white, just look at me." Should we do it one more time? Let's do it one more time. Ready? "I'm a little penguin in the..." Sorry, oh my goodness. My hand is being silly. "I'm a little penguin in the snow. I slide on my belly to and fro. I eat all the fish in the deep blue sea. I'm black and white, just look at me." Good job. Should we go read another story? Let's do it. Welcome back to the Reading Nook. Now, we talked about penguins. Now we're going to talk about the animal that makes the longest migration. They go all the way from the top of our earth all the way to the bottom of our earth. Can you think of what it might be? Can you think what animal do you think can make that journey? You have a guess? It's a whale. There is a type of whale that goes all the way from the Arctic down to the Antarctic and back. It travels basically the distance to the moon, which is really far, isn't it? So, do you want to read a story about a whale? This is called Whales Passing. This is by Eve Bunting. Let's read this story. It's not about the whale that makes that long trip. It's a different type of whale. My dad and I stand on the scratchy grass of a cliff's edge and watch the whales go by. Can you see them in the distance? There are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A pod, my father says. They're orcas, every one. They may have come from colder seas, where icebergs float and break. Icebergs, blue, white, and polished in the sun. I watch the drifts that are their breaths. Do you see the drifts? And then they dive deep, deep among the streams of fish and star ants and light that fills the sea. How do they know which way to go? I ask. The sea is the same each way I turn, and the sky is empty too, except for pelicans, and a kite-tailed string of them across the blue. See all the pelicans? Oh, I bet there are signposts down below. An ocean mountain, or an ocean mountain, or a sunken ship. Maybe another whale goes, "Follow me. We'll make a right at the white rock." That is, if whales can talk. Can whales talk? What do you think? My father smiles. Of course they talk. They storytell. Each day they swim from here to there, and farther still they whistle and make clicking sounds and squeals. Did you know whales make sounds? They do whistles and clicking sounds. I don't know if that's quite right, but that's kind of what I imagine it. And they squeal. You can look all their sounds up. They say a baby orca hears its mother's voice before it's born in the sea. And it answers back, I ask. Maybe. Do you hear when you hear your parents' voice, your adult's voice, do you respond? Can you hear it? We stay and watch them surface, spout, and dive. We watch them until they disappear. All 5. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wonder if the whales saw us. There was a boy, one whale would say. He and his dad would surely talk of us and how they saw us pass. The small one's shirt was red as the sunset of the sea. His shorts were sky blue. His socks blue too. They lack our blubber, sad to say. But humans have no love of fat. Imagine that. No love of fat. Whales have lots of blubber on them. That's how they keep warm. Caree! Caree! The high whale laughter screeches through the sea. The other whales join in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No need to laugh, the first whale says. Those humans have their place, and we have ours. The thing is well arranged, the small whale says. She leaps a frolic leap and slaps her tail. Soon she will have her firstborn calf, and is filled with joy. The whales think of the boy, and he of them. My dad and I saw whales, I tell Mom. They saw us too. I wonder when they talk down there, do the bubbles bubble up? You think they talk? My mom will smile. Of course they'll do, I'll say, but not like you and me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're gone, and my dad and I will come again and see the whales. For now I'll hold a shell I found close to my ear and hear the sea, and I'll remember whales passing. Do you see the shell? 2, 3. There goes the pod. Not in. A nice song about whales. Whales really do sing. They have a nice, pretty song, and they talk to other whales. We as humans don't understand it, but other whales do. Would you like to do the big word of the month with me? Let's go. Our big word for the month is migration, and today we're talking about animals that swim. Now, migration means a great big long trip. Since we're talking about animals that swim, should we do it while we're swimming? So we're going to do migration, a great big long trip. We're swimming. Can you do it with me? Can we do it 3 times? Can you do it with me? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Migration, a great big long trip. Did you swim? I swam. Let's do it again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Migration. I'm going to do a backstroke this time. Ready? A great big long trip. Good job. One more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Migration. Let's do like dolphins. Ready? A great big long trip. Good job. Let's go read one more story. I'm back here for our last story. Now, let's think one more time about another animal that you think can swim. There is another animal. Turtles migrate. Did you know that? Turtles migrate. This book is called Turtle Shells. It is by Mary Elizabeth Salzmann. This is a half and half one that we've had before with some of the others. Baby sea turtles called hatchlings. They open their shells with a sharp-toothed part called a caruncle. Try to skip it. Serena, the baby sea turtle, wakes up in her small, cozy room. She's excited because today she gets to play with the other hatchlings in her nest. She says, "Ready or not, here I come!" And she bursts out of her room. Sea turtle eggs look like ping pong balls. There can be more than 100 eggs in a sea turtle nest. Serena finds herself in a nest with many other hatchlings. No one can leave the nest until nighttime, so they play games and make friends while they wait. Hatchlings depart from the nest at night and run to the ocean. That night, Serena and her new friend, Cesar and Sandra, leave the nest. Cesar says, "I think I can see the moon shining off the water." They go towards it, but it's just a super shiny shell. Hatchlings go toward the light, which is brighter over the water than land. Sometimes they accidentally run toward man-made lights on land instead of toward the ocean. "This is the wrong way," says Serena. She studies the map to find the ocean lane. "This way," she says, pointing to the right. "You can bring the show with you, but let's get going." It's hard for hatchlings to get to the water because they are only about 2 inches long. Even a footprint in the sand can make their trip dangerous. Suddenly, a deep hole appears in front of them. "How do we get across?" Sandra cries. "We'll ride the super shell!" Serena exclaimed. The seashell slides down into the hole and shoots up the other side, landing in the sand. The hatchlings dive into the surface and swim out to sea as fast as they can. For sea turtles, swimming is much easier than walking on land. "Look, there's the ocean," Serena says. "Hurry, we made it!" The friends cheer and high-five each other. They dive in and splash out to the sea, splashing and playing all the way. Male sea turtles never leave the ocean. Female sea turtles leave the ocean only to lay eggs. Serena grows up in the sea. Now it's time for her to lay her own eggs. As she swims back to the beach, she sees a seashell that reminds her of her own adventures with Cesar and Sandra. A sea turtle uses her legs to dig a hole in the sand. She buries her eggs in a hole and returns to sea. Serena digs a hole and fills it with eggs and heads back home. She hopes her darlings will have as much fun growing up as she did. The end. Aren't turtles fun? I have a special craft for you that involves a turtle and a Talia. If you wait 1 second, I'll go get her. You ready? Our fun craft for this week is to make a turtle shell. Talia is modeling her turtle shell. She made it. All you need is a big old paper bag. You can make yourself into a turtle. Turn around so they can see the back of your shell. Good job. Well, that's all we have for today. We hope to see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.